Hey everyone, hope all is well. So today I have this Werenbach Soyuz Pitch Black. But 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, actually, just by a few days, I reviewed my first Werenbach watch, the Leonov. And that was quite a unique watch with dials made from actual rocket ships and had some unique features and a beautiful design. This model, though, the Soyuz Pitch Black, the case design is more traditional than the previous model I reviewed, and though some elements do remain, the dial is still made of rocket material, of course, though a little differently than the Leonov model. The price on this model is significantly cheaper as well, and it comes in at $995. So for those that were wanting something unique and niche, but not willing to shell out almost $2,000, these models may be ones to look at. Now, I don't want to go too far into comparing it to the previous model, as I don't want one of you sassing me like one of you did on a previous review. And yes, I do not have that other model on hand to show both side by side. But what I do want to say is preparing for this review and taking the photos, I really found a new perspective of these Werenbach watches. These are exactly what watch collectors should want as far as something different. As you know, I'm not here to sell you a watch, but myself and countless folks on forums, groups, social media, etc., are always lambasting watches for being homages or too similar to other watches or just straight up copies or hey, why does everything have to be a dive watch or a pilot watch, etc. Well, here is something that really doesn't fit into either of those categories, or many others for that matter, and just kind of goes in the niche category. But what you get here is something very unique, but more than that, it's just a very well made and finished watch, not just for the price, but in general. On the screen, you will see the full specifications. So, the first thing you really notice with the case design is the machining and finishing. This is just not some run-of-the-mill design, and honestly, in this video, I don't need to describe it that much. Just take a look at the angles and the mix of polished and satin brush surfaces, and how perfectly the crown sits in the crown guards of the case. There's a lot of detail to look at here with this piece, and the more I look at it, the more I appreciate it. The crown does not screw down, but because of how it sits so far into the crown guards, it really hasn't proven to be a problem, and I just love the shape of this crown. I was initially thinking that maybe because of the black dial it would have been nice to see the crown in all black as well. But then I think you would miss out on some of the detail, though an all black case for this watch would probably look great as well. The only thing I'm not in love with is the Spaceborne nameplate on the side of the case. I'm just not a fan of billboards on the sides of watches. And I guess because it actually sits flat with the case and doesn't protrude, it's not too bad and I could learn to live with it. So when it comes to the dial, this is a dial made of melted down aluminum from the booster of the rocket. Basically, it's cast like you would make jewelry. It's melted down metal, then poured into molds, and then coated and finished. Now, of course, this pitch black model is basically all black, as you could see, but there is a standard black that has white markers, and then there is a cast white and a cast raw, which I assume is how it comes out of the casting with minimal finishing. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read some of the copy from the website while also showing some of the photos from their website of the production process. The dial of this model comes from the booster of the rocket. During production, the raw material is melted down, and the distinctive 3D profile of the dial is created using our micro casting process. This process gives rise to the unevenness that can remain visible in the end product. Since no material is left over from the casting process, we package the watch with a specially cut original rocket part. The raw dials are produced in a multi-stage microcasting process and then finished by hand. This manufacturing process is unique among watchmakers. Only Werenbach offers aluminum dials milled from one piece with a one-of-a-kind 3D profile. Now, I'm still reading from the Werenbach website, so those are their words, not mine. Now, there's a lot more info on the Werenbach website about the rocket themselves, how they're salvaged, how they're sourced, and so much more about the crew and coordinates and everything else. So, if you really want to nerd out about this, check out the website that I, of course, will have linked below. So, with this unique casting process, what you end up with is a very distinct looking dial. And yes, you could see some of the imperfections in the dial, but that adds to the charm here. And even though this is called pitch black, the hands are done in white, and you do get a little pop of yellow and white here as well. You also get a date wheel, and yes, this watch does have some lume, which I will show you here shortly. But even though these watches are defined by rockets and certain types of manufacturing, it is more than just pure aesthetic, and you get some real functionality here as well. SW200-1 is the movement. No complaints from me with the Swiss movement being used, especially at just about $1,000. And you could see just a little bit of the movement through the case back. But this is what I consider the best of both worlds when it comes to case backs. Many know I am a sucker for a solid engraved caseback, and just look at this clean stamping, this great design. You got an astronaut here, multiple finishes being used, and for those that just need to see the movement, you get a little window to do just that. Amazing caseback here. I love everything about it. When it comes to this particular strap, though, that is where some things start to fall apart. Not literally, but this strap is wildly stiff and uncomfortable. I had asked for the rubber strap. They send it out on this leather, and I wasn't about to have them send out just a strap, so it is what it is. On the back, you can see some nice illustrations, but this is just so stiff, and it makes it hard to wear. I'm not sure what type of leather this is, or if it's the backing that makes it so hard. And then I just don't care for this style of buckle either. It just makes the whole thing uncomfortable. Here it is on my 7.5-inch wrist, and maybe after wearing it for a few weeks it would break in, but this leather strap would just not be my first choice of straps for them, so if you're like me, maybe consider checking out other options. As I alluded to, you do have some lume here, and it is just a few dots in all the hands, but it is well applied, and it does look very nice in the dark, as you can see. With a name like Pitch Black, they could have easily not put any lume on it at all, and I don't think anybody would have really cared, so it is nice that they gave us some lume. Now, I really don't want to sound like a commercial here, but I also need to give props where they are due. Disregarding this particular leather strap, the amount of work that has been done to the case back, this unique and beautiful dial, and of course the Swiss movement, all for just about $1,000, I'm not sure how many other watches could touch this in terms of a distinctive case design and these cast dials, and just how well they integrated the theme of rockets and space into something different, yet not really being gimmicky and still being very functional. Now, I completely understand, as good as this watch is, the whole rocket thing, the look of this dial, this case design, etc., could just not be your cup of tea. But that's any watch I review, but I try and look at the watches as objectively as I can. And for all the folks that complain that brands don't do anything new or different, well, here is new and different. And it's new and different done very well. They just need some better straps or maybe some link bracelet options. I want to hear from you though, so let me know what you think of this Werenbach Soyuz Pitch Black down in the comment section below. Please be sure to like, share with everybody that you know, every group on Facebook, and every forum you belong to. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. That's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.